And let us finish the 7th chapter of the Darkangel, which is called Darkangel's Dream, and that's the agony that Ariel has been going through. The Darrow has tried to take her away from having to listen to the Darkangel, the Icarus, the vampire, crying, saying that he wants her to come to him. Her ears are now stuffed up with beeswax, and will continue from where the break in the story was. How long she might have dozed, Ariel could not tell. When she awoke, the Darrow was taking the wax from her ears. The great book lay open on the sand across from her. Its pages were covered with many rows of runes, and the illuminated picture of a great snowy heron. The small white fire flickered as before. It never seemed to burn down, and she had never seen the Darrow add kindling to it. When his careful, stubby fingers had gotten most of the warm wax from her ears, she could hear it snapping quietly now and again. "Is it safe?" she said, sitting up and taking the last bits of beeswax from her ears herself. Her mind was clear now, no longer under the Darkangel's spell. She felt stronger and more sure. "Safe enough for the moment, I should think," the Darrow replied. He had gone off upstream into the higher caves. "I have closed a few passages and opened others to confuse him. I think he will be lost up there for a while yet. Are you hungry? Here, eat this." He produced from one of his many hidden pockets a large white mushroom, one of the many that grew in the caves. Ariel took it gladly. It was as fluffy as angel food, but at the same time very filling. The Darrow went back over to the fire and knelt beside his book. Ariel gazed at the illuminated picture of the heron while she ate, and wondered what it signified. "I've done some reading while you slept," the Darrow said, "and have made something for you. Come and I will show you." He rose and walked past her, then to the door behind the partition. Ariel followed hesitantly, half expecting the vampire to stand concealed just beyond the corner, ready to snatch them the moment they emerged. But no vampire lurked. As they came through the door and walked down to the water, Ariel saw, moored at a stake driven in the sand, a tiny skiff, shallow as a marsh boat, made of something pearly and translucent, like horn or shell, with a heron's bust, head dipped, wings outspread, carved as figurehead upon its prow. The craft had a single tiny sail, so light that even the slight cave wind swelled it so the craft buckled and danced in the water like an eager horse. "She is so beautiful," said Ariel, drawing toward the little vessel like a moth to light. She knelt and laid her hands upon its slender prow. The skiff bobbed and rubbed her hand, exactly like a pony. "What is her name?" "I have christened her Wind," said the Darrow. "Wind on the water, in hope that she will bear you swiftly as her name." "Bear me?" said Ariel. "I am not going." "But you must, child. Don't you see? The Icarus will kill you if you stay." Ariel shook her head and stroked the little ship sadly. "I cannot leave here. I am in his power yet, but I have sworn to rescue the race." "He will not let you," said the Darrow. "Believe me, your only hope to save them lies in going now and doing as I say." Ariel looked at him a long moment. Half her heart went out to the little vessel, yearned to go skipping away across the water, but the other half still longed for the Darkangel and wished never to leave him. "You are not just sending me to safety, then?" The Darrow shook his head. "No safety lies in this departure, Ariel." "You have a task for me to perform." This time he nodded. "You must sail down river through all the caves and under the plains till you come to the gorge where the river emerges. This will put you miles from the castle and far from the eyes of the gargoyles. Oh yes, daughter, well fed no less, they'll bite the hand that's fed them, raise the alarum if you left in their sight. When you come to the gorge, you must leave the boat and traverse the plains and the sanded desert." He paused for a moment, took breath in order to collect himself. His words were hurried. Ariel listened. "It will be a long trek," he told her. "I know not how long it will take you, many months, and many to return. You must walk toward Oceanus, walk over the dunes until the planet hangs directly above you in the heavens, and you stand at the center of the world. Then you must seek after the Star Horse, he of the strong hoof undying. Bring back what you may of him, for it is by the hoof of the star-horse that the Icarus will fall. Come now, say me the riddle again, that I may know you have it fast in your mind." Ariel recited the rhyme to him, and indeed it was clear in her memory, as if she had known it since childhood. On Averick's white plain, where the Icarus now wings, to steeps of terrain, from tour of the kings, the damosels twice 7, his brides have all become, a far cry from heaven, and long road from home. Then strong hoof of the star-horse must hallow him unguessed, if adamant's edge is to plunder his breast. Then only may the war-horse and warrior arise, to rally the war-hosts, and thunder the skies. The little man folded his arms and nodded as he listened. "Well, enough then, good child. Do not forget it." He unfolded his arms. "Now, as I told you, I do not know how long this journey will take you. I shall try to delay the vampire, and I shall send you a helpmate if I can." He started. "Oh, I almost forgot." He reached into one of his many hidden pockets and pulled out a little sack of black velvet, drawn together at the top with a drawstring. He handed it to her. "I have put ample provisions in there for your journey," he said. Ariel gazed at the bag in bewilderment. It lay light and limp in her hand. "But it's empty," she said. The Darrow smiled. "Not so. Pull it open and look inside." Ariel did so. The interior was black and filled with nothing. "Now close your eyes and reach inside," the Darrow instructed. Ariel obeyed. She felt something smooth and round, the size of a fist. She pulled it out. It was a pale green fruit. "Reach in again," the Darrow told her. This time Ariel pulled out an oyster, still damp and cold in its shell. Bidden again by the Darrow, she reached in once more and pulled out a handful of almonds. Again, a steamed crayfish wrapped in rushes. Again, a bunch of white grapes. She looked at the Darrow. He smiled modestly, blushing a trace. "Oh, yes, my dear, I am a bit of a magician. One can't help but learn a thing or two in—" A shout interrupted him, then a crash far upstream, several chambers away. It sounded as though some heavy door had just been thrown aside. Ariel gasped. The Darrow paled. "By the Pendulon!" he murmured. "He's found the way out already. I am not half the magician I thought I was. Quick, girl, into the boat!" Ariel had no time to think, or even to say a word. The Darrow was hurrying her into the little craft, which, for all its lightness, hardly dipped when she stepped in and settled herself on the cross-plank behind the mast. She replaced the golden melon and the other foodstuffs in the black velvet sack and slipped it into her sash. Meanwhile, the Darrow freed the mooring from the stake, and the skiff leapt away from the shore like a steed given its head. He scarcely had time to toss in the cord before she was out of reach. Ariel turned and would have called some farewell, save that the Darrow put his finger to his lips and gestured back upstream where the vampire must be, though they heard no more noise. Ariel had just raised her hand to wave when Wind on the Water sped through the archway into the next chamber, and the little man behind on the shore was lost to her sight. Ariel sat motionless, gazing astern. She felt suddenly abandoned and alone. After a moment she sighed and dropped her hand, then turned and looked ahead to see where the river led. And that is the end of Chapter 7.